Hi guys, George here. And today what I'd like to bring to you is a little tips and tactics about mole attacks. And what I mean by moles are Molotov cocktails. So, hey, where do I go? There I am. So, basically, uh, the idea of Molotov cocktails was first introduced in the module Cross of Iron a long time ago. And if you inadvertently think that the Molotov cocktails uh, as they appeared in Cross of Iron is how they behave in Advanced Squad Leader. I have news for you. They have evolved, and I believe they have improved uh, over time. Now, I'm not going to compare the old to the new. I'd like to focus on the new, and let's see where we go from here. Yeah, if I see that my image is cutting out critical information, I'll let you know. So the first thing you need to know about Molotov cocktails, and before we go any further, we're going to put on our thinking cap. Yep, and have a little sip of coffee. I like this cup because it's both right-handed and left-handed. See, you can uh, drink from either direction. Good stuff. So the first thing you need to know about Molotov cocktails is that it's an inherent uh, support weapon. It's only available by SSR and or purchased in do-it-yourself scenarios. And what that means is you don't have a counter for it. You basically roll for it like Panzerfaust. Now, in order to be able to use a Molotov cocktail, you need to be in good order. And now, when I looked at the rule book, it said, or Berserk. And I put question mark because Berserk is not good order. But in this case, it appears that, hey, it's an inherent support weapon that Berserkers can use. Yeah. And be unpinned, of course. If you're pinned, you cannot use or attempt to use a Molotov cocktail. Now, there are three methods to use a Molotov cocktail. None of them include using it in close combat. So, as a matter of fact, the rules prohibit the use of Molotov cocktails in close combat. Now, if anybody tells you otherwise, then if you like them, okay, you can educate them on this topic after watching this video and reading the relevant rule sections, or you can tell them to go play a game of Risk if you don't like them that much, because you cannot use Molotov cocktails uh, in the context of a close combat. But there are three legitimate ways of using them in your fire phase, and you can use them against unarmored or soft targets uh, versus armored targets and versus terrain. Somehow I like using my left hand to drink my coffee here. Yeah. All right. So let's examine each of the three methods of using them. Versus unarmored targets. Okay. May not be made across woods or orchard hex sides. I guess trying to throw a Molotov cocktail and getting hit by a branch comes back right at you. It, there isn't enough clearance to throw it, and I guess what's the rule. That is what the rule simulates. After declaring a point blank fire or triple point blank fire, but before resolution. So you have to declare that you're first you're declaring your ordinary fire, and then you say, well, with this fire group or with this unit, I'm also going to do a mold check. And it counts as the use of a support weapon. So half squads cannot use their inherent firepower if they're going for a mold check. So if you can't use your inherent firepower and it's only 4 additional firepower factors, what's the point of having a half squad declare a mole attack? Well, the good thing is about a mole attack is you can put a flame in your opponent's hex. Uh, Adversely, you can end up putting a flame in your hex. And what that does is it inhibits movement, um, and it causes hindrances to the line of sight checks, especially if the flame turns into a burning fire. And I wonder, I wonder if that is suppressed in scenarios where no kindling is not applicable. But I guess it's not a form of kindling. Using a mole attack is not a form of kindling, so it could be a way of circumventing an SSR that says kindling not applicable. So ultimately, if you do succeed in the mole check, you end up with 4 additional firepower factors that are not subject to modification. You have to roll a 1 to 3, and your small DR, meaning 1 dice, is not subject to leadership modification, but you do have to add 1 if it's a half squad or a crew trying to do a mole check, plus 2 to your dice roll um, if it's a single man counter. Um, so the alternative way of writing that rule would have been, for a half squad or a crew, you have to roll a 2 or less, and for a single man counter, you have to roll a 1 on a single dice 6. And there's no additional penalty for a unit that's CX to roll for a mole check. So it's only 1 per fire group, but it obligates the fire group to execute the attack even if the mole check is a failure. So if you have a fire group and one of the units um, checks for a mole check, subsequent to saying this unit will use a mole check and it's one check per fire group, um, that announcement obligates the fire group to fire together just the same. You cannot renege on the fire group after you declare a mole check. Uh, Single man counter may make his own mole check apart from the fire group. So if there's a single man counter in the fire group, you can fire the fire group and then try to do a separate attack with a leader with uh, a 4 firepower factor attack using the leader as the mole thrower, as the Molotov cocktail thrower, which is interesting. Let's go to the next slide. So what are the consequences of a mole attack? And fire away. The consequences are you have to look, well, you get an additional 4 firepower factors, but if a 1 or 6 on the color die pops up, then you have additional consequences. So if you have a 6, the unit that made the mole attack, mole check, breaks. Um, and then the inherent firepower of that unit that did the mole check is annulled. And so is the 4 additional firepower factors. And then that 6 on the colored die introduces a flame in the thrower's location, but the fire group just the same remains intact. Just because one unit broke amongst the fire group, the 2 adjoining units to the broken unit still have to fire together, which is not bad, really. You still end up, like, if you have 3 squads with 4 firepower factors, you still have uh, an 8 firepower attack as opposed to 2 small 4s. Time for another Nescafe, another sip of Nescafe, man. Second cup of coffee only in the morning. Yeah, I wish I could be doing these videos in the afternoon and enjoying a cold glass of rum or whiskey with that. But anyway, I don't drink and only sociably, and what the heck? There's only so much you can do with diabetes. A 1, a 1. If you roll a 1 on your mole attack, you introduce a flame in the burnable in the target location if it's burnable terrain. I guess the same thing would apply uh, for the previous uh, consequences. Um, and then the flame uh, is put into place if you take into consideration the EC dice roll modifier, the environmental condition dice roll modifier, and you also have an additional -1 if the target location is a fortified building. So what determines uh, the flame is uh, a, a less than or equal to 1 on the white DR, um, including the ECDRM. So if you have wet conditions, the likelihood of getting a flame in the target location is considerably smaller than if you have dry conditions or ordinary weather. All right, and we're going to be doing a small example, and I'm going to just turn off my vid capture here because I see there's information being cut off. Right, so um, important thing to state before I go any further. If the scenario allocates to you Molotov cocktails, there is a good reason for it. And the reason being is that if you are naive enough not to attempt or use them, chances are you need those firepower factors the way the scenario was designed in order for you to thwart an attack, believe it or not. Now, mole attacks versus armored units. So it's the same thing as you, more or less the same rules apply, the same principles apply versus um, versus a armored or a unarmored unit, with the following exceptions. First, you need to designate the armored fighting vehicle as your target, as opposed to any passengers, riders, or infantry. And then you do a mole check. If it's successful, then you roll on the to kill column chart, Charlie 7.34 on the HE or flame. Now, I looked at that chart and I found it a little bit amazing because a mole attack on the HE and flame to kill table, you need a 6, right? For armor targets, basic to kill number is a 6. And then there's a footnote 3, and there's an additional +1 if the vehicle is crew exposed. Um, Close top +2 if crew exposed, close top. Okay, and +2 if it's open top, and +1 slash +2 elevation advantage C 7.22 -2 versus moving target. So you add 2 to your dice roll, I suppose, if it's a moving target. Or does that modify the 2 kill? I guess it modifies the 2 kill. Double if critical hit, +1 if open top. I don't think that applies, but note 3 does apply. So more or less the base is 6 for a mole attack. But if you're going over a soft target and you have only a mole to begin with, which would be a 4 attack, then you would need a 5. So it's easier by one factor to kill a armored target than a soft target. But I'm guessing if a squad is firing a soft truck, let's say, with 4 firepower factors, and he does a mole attack, he would be rolling on the A table, which would then require a 7 to kill a soft target. Uh, we may or may not have time for an example using a vehicle. So if successful, you roll on the to kill chart, and then the same dice roll can be used for the collateral attack on soft targets, including vulnerable PRC. PRC stands for passengers, riders, and crew. Uh, if not successful, you roll on the IFT for firepower factor mole attack versus the unarmored units. So one way or another, you have a little bit of an advantage there. I wonder if the -1 attack would be cumulative if you're doing a street assault, street fighting. Results on the 2 kill table. If your 2 kill number is less than the AFE 2 kill number, it's a burning wreck. And in this case, you're not adding the armor factors to that attack. If your 2 kill number is equal to the armored fighting vehicle 2 kill number, if your 2 kill roll is equal to the AFE 2 kill number, the armored fighting vehicle is eliminated and you roll for crew survival for the crew and the PRC. But what's interesting is that if you roll less than a 6, that whole hex turns into just a burning wreck. There's no crew survival, and I believe the PRC would probably end up with a... no, I would turn the whole thing into a burning wreck. I mean, that thing turned into a burning wreck. It exploded. Yeah, no crew survival there. So, special note with the DRMs, it's one of the two, not both. It's not cumulative like flamethrower, so it's either +2 for open top or +1 for crew exposed to the 2 kill number, and you have +2 to the DRM for a vehicle that's in motion. That's simple enough to understand. C 7.344 also may apply rear facing and head advantage. Yeah. So I want you guys to go into the rule book and read that yourselves. I won't go over it here. All right, let's go over it. Let's go over to the next slide. And this is the last slide before we get to an example, I suppose. After a successful mole attempt, unit obtains a +2 DRM. Now, so what is that +2 DRM that I'm talking about? So this is the last method you can use of how to use a Molotov cocktail, and that is to enhance your kindling attempt if kindling is permitted in the scenario. So you announce a mole attack against burnable terrain. You get a +2 DRM to your kindling attempt. And unlike other attacks, this is important, folks, there's no chance of breaking if a 6 pops up on your colored die. So that's basically it when the mole attack in a nutshell at 17 minutes. So let's see. Let's turn to our map and see if we can demo a little example here. Give me a moment. Well, with the magic of recording in a good or semi-good video recorder with the ability to pause, you work miracles. So we got away from PowerPoint and we're now on our beloved Vassal. And we have a situation here. So we have 6 Polish squads with a couple of support weapons and mole ability. We got our snipers, and the Germans are assaulting this victory location area. So we won't go through the entire battle. This is just something that I made up so I can show you the power of a mole attack. And we'll see if using moles makes a difference, okay? So let's pretend, let's get a phase wheel rather quickly. And this is that. And turn control module, custom, no, turn tracks, vertical, no, let's see. Do we need a turn marker? Not really. Let's pretend this is a 5-turn scenario, but it is now, let's move it forward to prep fire phase. And let's say for one reason or another, well, not, let's go back to yeah, let's leave it to prep fire phase for a second, all right? And let's see what are the properties of this motor. It doesn't look like he has smoke. So let's say for the ITS and giggles, we'll fire the mortar here. So it's a basic 7 attack, um, 7 to hit. So let's go to roll a 2-hit number, hit and rate. So we should label this mortar A, uh, and get a acquisition marker, nice big one. Label that too. A, there you go. Now that's a 50, and it's firing area fire. So the 50 at area target type would be a 2 up 2 attack because that's a wooden building. So let's see how that unravels. Ooh, darn it! I got rolled a 4. Let's minimize this a little bit and see if we can uh, adjust it to the screen here. All right, so I rolled a 4 up 2 is a 6 on the 2 table, which is a pinched task check. And you're going to take that pinched task check and be grateful for it because if he doesn't pass, he pins and he cannot use a mole. All right, so he fired. He'll fire again because he got rate. So 2 hit now will be an 8 because I have a -1 AC. He hits, but no more rate. And then we're going to roll on the IFT a 2 up 2 up to 2 firepowers factors up 2 because of the wooden building. Let's see what that gives me. Nothing. So all that for nothing. He took fire. He can't move. And now let's see. Let's say this German player is very aggressive and roll next to movement. He's very aggressive. He wants to eliminate you as quickly as possible. So he'll do this. He'll announce assault move to there, which is really a risky attack here. And let's say the unit will do a mole check right there. He's not going to fire a group. He's going to fire this unit alone to there. So that's an 8 down 2 attack. -1 for moving in the open, -1 for the leadership DRM. But he'll do a mole attack and add an extra 4 to his firepower. Let's see if that makes a difference, all right? So first, let's do the mole check. He has a mole. So now, instead of it being a 8 down 2, it will be a 12 down 2. Right, all right, so let's roll on the IFT. Well, he gets a 6. Now, that's a 5, actually. Down 2 is a 3 on the 12 chart. 3 on the 12 chart is a K/3. If he rolled the same dice roll on the A table, it would have been a K/2. So what does that mean? This fellow here, half squads. Okay, half squads. Let's keep the casualties on the board just to show them. Clone. So this dude is a casualty. It goes in the graveyard. Let's say the graveyard is here. Okay. And now the surviving half squad suffers a 3 morale check as opposed to a 2 morale check. So let's do that morale check. He rolled a 4. He makes it, the little brave soul, right? He makes it because he rolled a 4 plus 3. Actually, that's a 4 plus 3. He pins. He pins. So he pins as opposed to passing outright because if he had fired, if Krutsky and the squad fired on the A table, it would have been a 2 morale check for the surviving spouse. So they just saved themselves. So they just first fired, and to boot, they had a 12 firepower attack as opposed to an 8. So the residuals in that hex are 6 as opposed to only 4. So that's interesting. Now this dude, um, this dude, all will assault move to there. Now he can fire a group with this fellow here, and he can also do a mole attack, right? Okay, so let's do that mole attack and roll a 1d6. He does not get it. Now, if he announced a, a fire group here, it would be mandatory. So I think I did. Let's do the math here. So we got um, let's open our capture here, video capture. There we go. All right. This is why I like to call this game Alpha Sigma Lambda, because there's math involved, and Alpha Sigma Lambda are all Greek math symbols. These. So I announced the fire group. So this is an 8 firepower factor. This would have been a 2, but since it's point blank fire, it's 4. So 8 plus 4 is another 12 attack. And, well, the mole was not successful. Let's do that now. Um, Now this time around, it's down 1. So it's 5 on the 12th chart. 5 on the 12th chart is simply a 2 morale check. We take that morale check and re-roll the 5. A 5, a 5, 4 down, 4 actually. So so that was a 3 morale check, and I had rolled a, gee, my memory's going out at the door. I rolled a 5, 8, he breaks. He does not ELR, but breaks. Let's say for this sake, the ELR is only 3. There you go, break. And he first fired. Okay. Should we continue the attack? Well, Mets could have fired here to there, but it wouldn't have made a difference. Okay. So we'll continue the attack. Here we go. He advances without the leader. And now this fellow is going to do a 4. He didn't claim wall advantage, so typically this guy will have to claim do a wall advantage, right? He can claim wall advantage at this juncture because the other unit did not. He's in the house. They're against the wall. All right. So should we do a 2 up 1 attack, or actually a 4 up 1 attack, or a 12? Hmm. Um, let's fire a whole kit and caboodle there, right? And hopefully we'll get right on the LMG. So it'll be a 12 up 1 because he's claiming wall advantage. 12 up 1. Should we do a mole check? Yeah, we'll do a mole check. Of course. Let's do a mole check. No moles. All right. 12 up. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a 5 on the 12. Another 5 on the 12. It's a 2 check. 2 check. Passes. And there is 6 residuals in there. Now this guy will assault move into there as well. I don't know why it was probably a 2 up 2 attack, because it was an assault move, right? Yeah, I got that wrong. I got that wrong, but we'll move forward. So this is an assault move. He's moving undercover. It's not open ground. It's not. So it's actually a 6 up 2 attack, maybe. Maybe I got that wrong. Here, let's roll it and see. 8 up 2 is 10 on the 6, which is nothing. So the leader succeeded in moving in there. Yeah, let's backtrack a second here on this attack. Um, he had the unit using a salt move into this hex had wall advantage because the unit here did not claim it. So he was not moving in the open. It should have been a 12 up 2 attack. I stand corrected, I believe. All right, let's go further and do some more mold checks. All right, assault move to there. Now this fellow here is an open ground. It would be a 1 attack. So I think Crook can do a mold check, and so can the squad. Let's see why not. But the attack would not be leader directed, and in that case, since he did a mole check, that would mean that they can cower. All right, so let's go do 2 mole checks, and the leader needs a 1, doesn't get it, and the squad needs a 1 to a 3. Ooh, nothing. So this attack cannot be leader directed because his action was to check for a mole. Now it will be an 8 down 1. So it's a 5 on the 8 table, which is a 2 morale check. He passes. They have first fired, and they cannot um, they cannot they cannot fire again on this unit because he only expended 1 movement point to move into that hex, and subsequently there's 4 residuals. But Kowalski here can fire at him, and that would be a 6 down 2, 6 down 1 attack. 6 down 2 actually. -1 for the leadership diagram, and -1 for moving in the open. 6 down 2. 7 on the 2 chart is, on the 6 chart, is a normal morale check. He breaks, finally. Uh, and he first fired. So interesting enough, I think the attack here thwarted advance into this hex by this unit, obliterated these guys, and mounts and the 467 are poised to attack one of the 2 hexes here. Now, the purpose of this is not to battle it out, but to show you a couple of examples. So let's say there's an attack here across the woods, right? And this fellow here just assault moved to there. He would not be able to use a mole attack because it's across a woods hex side. So it would be probably here it would be an 8 up 1 attack. Let's just do it for the shits. It's in giggles. Still a good roll. I have to stop rolling good like that. All right, now the other item would be, okay, I have my squad here. Everybody can see that. I assault move to there. Now, can he do a mole attack? I think in this case he can. Um, we'll turn to the book in a sec. I think in this case he can because under Alpha 22.611, there is a big X across a road hex side versus units on the road. So I think in this case he can. You know, I haven't used mole attacks that often because I kind of played a few scenarios where moves were allowed. One of them more recently than another, where I tried and I wasn't fortunate enough to get enough 3s, but along a few months ago when I was playing Pavel Mila 18, Pavel from Poland used mole attacks successfully in the scenario with the partisans. Yeah. So enough with infantry examples. Let's be brave and do a couple of armor examples. So let's take our brave Polish unit here and put him in the stone building. Let's come up with a couple of scenarios. And let's see if we mastered the mole attack rules. So let's pull out a vehicle now. Oh God, I'm excited. Hold on one sec. Okay, so I managed with the magic of video recording and Vassal to pull out a half track with passengers in it. And let's say these fellows did this. He announces a mole attack, and the mole attack will be against the vehicle. Okay, let's see what happens. Do I have a mole? I got a mole. Now, he's throwing the mole over there. And in this case, I'm going to have to consult the HE Inflame 2 kill table. So my mole attack, I need a 6 to knock it out, but I can either add the +1 for crew exposed, closed top, or +2 if open top. So I want to apply the +2 for open top. He is moving, so that cancels out the 2. So I need 6 or less, and this guy is either eliminated or a burning wreck. Let's see. To kill. Whoa! He made it. He made it, and uh, there is no consequences. Now, if I rolled a 6, this fellow here, what you need to do before you eliminate him is look at his crew survival number is 4, right? So let's say, for the sake of the example, I did roll a 6. Then I would have to check for the crew survival, for the inherent crew, didn't make it, and then the passengers didn't make it. So a 6 would have made him into a wreck, and then I would have to roll for crew survival, and a 5 or less would have made him a burning wreck. Right, now, let's put this guy on the side here. And let's say instead it was a truck. Right, now, truck comes up, boink, mole check, 6, there's no mole. Let's say for the sake of the example, there is a mole, right? And in this case, since it's a star type vehicle, he got a mole. He has he has 8 inherent firepower for being adjacent, plus another 4 for the mole, makes a 12, up 2, and on the 12th chart, I need an 8 or less to eliminate this unit. Now, if it's let's roll and see what happens. I rolled a 4, which is really less than half that than what I need, and this whole stack would be a ball of flames. Now, the same attack on the 8 table would have eliminated the units, suppose, right? Hmm. All right. Third example, I suppose, is all right. Uh, we're announcing an armor assault. So, boink. The unit is not advancing in the open because it's an armor assault. The tank is limiting his movement to the unit's movement factors. He announces a mole attack, and before he does, he has to state whether it's the vehicle he's trying to attack or the uh, accompanying infantry. So he's attacking the vehicle. Does a mole check, gets the mole. Now, how that happens now is I have to roll a 6 or less. He's not crew exposed. and the armor factors do not come into play, but there is +2 for being in motion. So it's basically a 4 to kill. He rolls a 3. Means this guy's a burning wreck. And now, that same dice roll would affect his collateral attack on the infantry. So that 3 that I rolled, it would be a 3 up 2, I guess. No, a 12 up 2. So it would be a 5 on the 12th chart. 5 on the 12th chart is another 2 morale check for the accompanying infantry. And they're pinned. They're pinned in a burning wreck X. One thing I'm not clear about is, okay, at what point do I add any benefit from the smoke? Would it be subsequent to in the subsequent phase, or would it be in the same phase? Well, that's why I prefer to call this game Alpha Sigma Lambda. There's a lot of math involved. I hope I was rather clear. I could have made some errors in this explanation, but at the end of this 41 minute plus presentation, I think that the main takeaway is that you have a better understanding of what mole attacks and the consequences are, and how they can really make the game really interesting with all their variations and combinations of using them, and how they can be a powerful defensive weapon against an attack. Kind of explains, like in the early half of the Russian invasion of Kiev, through the it was really remarkable how the whole population was mobilized, and one of the key weapons that they used against the Russian tanks was Molotov cocktails. I hate deviating to actual reality, but because this is the ASL universe and the world is the world. But omitting to use moles when they are given to you by SSR is a major error. Time to brush up on the mole rules, guys, and play some early war scenarios, because as you can see, there's a lot of action, and maybe I haven't answered every question that you may have. I may have made errors. I welcome constructive feedback. So, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. That concludes my discussion on moles. Other than that, my closing remarks are always a statement of gratitude to everyone that supports this channel, everyone that has subscribed, and everyone that has been here from the start. I am following my child's football game on a personal note. So that's the Laval Senior Panthers, and they're 1 victory so far. Actually 1 victory, 2 losses, I think they're at. Guys, keep up the good work. Try hard, especially in your academic studies, as well as your athleticism. Keep going strong. I wish that upon all my fans, keep going strong, have courage, and most of all, take time to enjoy your hobby. Have a great weekend, everyone. George, over and out.